Hey guys, it's Tom. I'm back with another video. This one I just wanted to talk about a little bit about time in the Philippines. But actually, leading to that, right? Um, it took me a while to put out my last video because I actually had it done like last week. Matter of fact, probably, well, maybe 5 days ago, 6 days ago, it was done. However, our internet and cable. We actually have like Sky internet and cable package, and it's usually pretty good. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I've been here over a year now, like whatever, 14 months or whatever, and it's down occasionally for a short time, maybe 12 hours, half a day or something like that. But usually, it's pretty reliable. Sometimes it goes on and off, or like where you have to just reset the router box. But that used to happen to me in the U.S. With the big company there. Um, but this time, everything was out, man, for like 3 days. It was actually like Wednesday, probably right after midnight. So whatever, it's kind of like Tuesday night, into Wednesday. But it was like so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, nothing. I had to use data and all that, and then of course my data is being used a lot just because I think I had to do a Zoom call, and then I did like just I watched a few videos, but not nearly what I do, like when I have regular Wi-Fi on my desktop computer and stuff. But I use like 2 gigs of data, like when normally 2 gigs of data would last me 3 months, you know. But anyway, I will tell you that finally Saturday, what happened Saturday morning, the cable came back, the TV. So I was like, okay, that's promising. And then Sunday, late morning, and it was actually a little bit early. They were saying two o'clock it was going to come back, 2 in the afternoon. And it came back earlier than that. It was like around 11 or 12, 11 a.m. or 12, noon. Um, so finally, so it comes back, right? But check this out. And I knew this like after about a day or two of it being down, I realized that I think the reason it was down was because back in March, PLDT, which is I think owned by Smart, that's the internet provider basically for Smart. They took over Sky, right? And Sky, I used to think was just in Manila. Like, oh, Sky's only in Manila, right? No, it's like in Cebu and some other places outside of Luzon, even. Not a ton of places outside Luzon, but some other places. So I was like, wait a minute, now this happened in March, or at least it initiated in March, and I think what happened is it finally got like fully done. You know what I mean? Like went through, and they said, okay, there's no regulatory department or whatever. I think okayed it. And sorry about that, guy. It's something in my finger, something in my eye, and I think it's my finger. But the so I'm like, oh, geez. So because what I noticed was this was the whole. If you went on their website, on Sky's website, it said service advisory, and it mentioned about the takeover, of Sky from by PLDT and all that. But then also the service advisory, the whole system was down. You know what I mean? It wasn't just like us. Like usually when you have an outage, it's just your area, or a lot of times it could be just your area, your local area. Maybe something happened, some cable was cut accidentally or otherwise, right? And then it'll go down. But this time it was like the whole. So I'm like, oh man, this is like, I wonder how long this is going to take. I'm thinking, because and I'm telling Amy, I'm like, oh, this is the whole system down. So now I'm starting to think maybe we should go with another company because we only had a 1 year minimum service agreement, and it's been over a year. So there's no penalties. Plus, if they got bought out by another company, that kind of would negate the agreement anyway. I think, right? So anyway, but so we were like, well, let's just wait. Wait till Monday, right? Because one of our youngest girls got going back to school this week. So I was thinking, just wait till Monday. Well, Sunday it came back. Okay. And sure enough, I mean, we'll see what happens, right? It's still not over yet because when they do a full switch over to PLDT, I want to see if the prices are going to change, if we're still going to get the same package that we have and all that. You know what I mean? What kind of quality we're going to get. So we'll see. The jury's still out on that. But for now, we're back to normal. We have everything's up and running. But so yeah, we'll see. But I mean, I thought I would do a video because some of you other guys out there might be using Sky, whether you're in the Manila area or Luzon, or whether you're even in Cebu or whatever. So anyway, but this is something else I wanted to talk about, right? This is like how time is done here, or how I know guys probably get frustrated with this a lot. They probably have experienced this with other things like in the Philippines. But this is what I'll tell you. Okay, so during this whole time, this outage was like 4 or 5 days, okay? And every day, like starting from the beginning, they would tell you, you'd get the text, right? Like Amy gets the text, and one of our girls also gets the text, sorry for the, outage, blah, blah, blah. The estimated time to come back is going to be like, say, 10 p.m., right, of that same day, right? And then 10 p.m. rolls around, and it's like, oh, sorry for the delay. The estimated time is going to be, 8 a.m. the next day. And then 8 a.m. rolls around, and it's like, sorry, blah, blah, blah. You see where I'm going here? They keep extending the time. And even though they knew from the beginning that this was going to take more than, 10 hours or whatever to fix, right? Because they're obviously overhauling everything or getting it ready for the total switch over to PLDT is what they probably were doing for the last, for 5 days or whatever. Okay. And some areas might still be out, but we were lucky enough to come back, a little bit earlier, maybe than some other ones. But that's the thing, right? Because they don't want to tell you the truth a lot of times. If something's going to take a long time here in the Philippines, and, this probably takes place in other countries too. You might even experience this in the U.S., right? Sometimes where, they don't want to tell you like, oh, it's going to take 4 days or 5 days, because then they think, oh, you're going to bolt. You know what I mean? You might change service. You'll get Globe, or whatever. Like, for example, in this area, Globe would be prevalent, So they don't want to, it's like they don't want to lose you, right? So they'd rather just string you along. They just keep stringing you along, boom, 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 until the end, And I noticed that also, like, for example, a couple times a week, we usually order delivery, food for delivery. Like, and we use Food Panda usually, right? Sometimes Grab, because they do food as well, as well as car service, taxi service. They also do groceries and all that stuff too. They deliver groceries. We don't do that. But I mean, just for your information, right? But they'll do the same thing. Now, whether it's Food Panda that's sort of doing this, or whether it's the restaurant, I don't know. You know what I mean? But they'll do the same thing. They'll say at the beginning, they'll say, ooh, 20 to 30 minutes, your food will be ready. Like a whole meal for 4 people or whatever, like in my case, right? For example. And then like it'll get to that 20-minute mark or whatever. And then and instead of saying like maybe 5 to 10 minutes to go or whatever, it'll bump back up to 20 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes, and then sometimes it'll maybe 15 minutes will go by, and then they'll say, oh, instead of like 5 or 10 more minutes, it's like 15 to 20 more minutes, like again with the extensions, like, oh, we're extending. And I've had that happen a few times. It doesn't happen a lot, with like Food Panda, but I mean, it does happen, I mean, it's whatever, over a year. I mean, it's probably happened at least a handful of times, where it's, you know what I mean? And again, it's that mentality that, hey, we don't want to tell you up front that your food's going to take 60 minutes. So we're going to tell you it's only going to take 30 at the beginning. And then when you get to the 30, it's going to be 30 more, but they do it incrementally. You know what I mean? They keep bumping it up. Like, when there's 5 minutes, should be 5 minutes to go. Now it's 10 to 15 minutes. You know what I mean? Like with the food I'm talking about. And so it's kind of a thing here, you know what I mean? So, and I'm sure there's guys that have been living here for a little while and they get frustrated by that. Well, they're not doing it to piss you off, you know what I mean? They're not like doing it because they're evil or something. You know, they just know that, and in a lot of cases they're probably right. You know, especially with the food delivery, because you could easily just say, oh, I'll use Grab. You know what I mean? Like if Panda told you, oh, it's going to take 60 minutes because it's busy, you know, it's lunch hour or whatever, you might say, well, let's just try Grab. You know what I mean? And then you'll cancel right away before the thing goes through. You know, you could cancel if you do it right away. You know, I'm like, I think you could cancel an order. You know, so they don't want you doing that, right? So they'd rather have you, you know, just kind of string you along a little bit, and they realize you're probably going to get a little pissed off, but you know, at least they got that sale, you know, and certainly that was the case probably with the internet. It's a bigger thing because, you know, now, hey, there's really no more service agreement, you know, so a lot of people, they probably figured a lot of people, and you know what, they were probably right. You know what I mean? If they told everybody, oh, it's going to be 5 days, you're going to be down, no cable, no internet for if they told you that at the beginning of that process, there would have been probably a lot of people that would have went to Globe, because Globe could probably set you up in 2 days. You know what I mean? Like, you know, especially if it's not the weekend days or whatever, you know, like if you did it right away, like it happened on a Wednesday. So if you would have just been like, oh, forget this, call, you know, Globe probably could have been out by Friday installing everything, you know. So I mean, they were smart about it, I guess, right? But it's pretty frustrating. And obviously, if you've been to that rodeo before, you know, you're gonna know. You know what I mean? You're gonna know what's going on. You're gonna be like, oh, geez, I could see what's happening here. You know, especially because the whole system was down. It wasn't just our little area or whatever. You know, but anyway, I just wanted to do a video on this just to kind of, you know, like I said, there's guys who've probably already experienced this, and then maybe there's guys who will experience this, right? Like if you're coming here to live, and just know that, you know, they're not doing it just to piss you off. You know what I mean? That's just, they realize that, hey, they could lose customers. You know what I mean? Like whatever, whether it's Food Panda or whether it's the internet service or whatever, you know, they're worried that they don't want to lose you as a customer totally, so they'd rather kind of string you along. You know, unfortunately, I know, you know, it kind of sucks, but I mean, you know, it's the way it is sometimes. You know, so. That's it, guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and share. I'd really appreciate it if you'd share it as well. And if you don't like the video, just send it to your enemy. I heard another vlogger that I liked said that a long time ago. Yeah, send it to somebody you don't like. Nah, just kidding. But all right, guys, that's it, man. Have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Until next time.